Welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal channel. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. This season is exciting. Very exciting to Arsenal fans because it looks like this is the season that we want to win the Premier League and we are most prepared. The summer has been done alright. I think in terms of injuries, yes, we do have a couple of them, but the team has not been affected yet. 4 games into the Premier League and everything looks fine and steady. So the big question is, can Arsenal go over the line this campaign? Can we beat Liverpool and Manchester City to the title for the first time in 4 years? Because in the last 3 years, we've been finishing second to Liverpool and Manchester City. And of course, we'll answer the question, what are the biggest obstacles for Arsenal as we look to win the Premier League? And what can we do about them? What should Arsenal do? What should Mikel Arteta do in order to win the Premier League this campaign? Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Talk to me in the comment box below. Do you think Arsenal confidently are going to go and walk away with the title, considering Liverpool and Manchester City? What are the things that we've not been doing in the previous campaigns that you think, well, if Arsenal do this, then we can go on to win the Premier League? Because that is what I want us to talk about on this video. And for me, where I want us to start is Liverpool and Manchester City. Those are the 2 points that you cannot ignore. If you want to win the Premier League in the past 6 years, past 7 years, you can't ignore Liverpool and Manchester City. And with Liverpool, they've got a new manager that is a little bit different from Jurgen Klopp, a manager that is willing to win games in the 90s, a manager that we know has got the quality in Florian Wirtz, Alexander Isak, the likes of Hugo Ekitike joining the team. It's a new Liverpool with a lot of old ingredients, and that's a recipe for stability. It's a recipe for disaster. And if you think about Liverpool last season when they were winning the league, and you think about Liverpool now, they are better. They're a much better side. Obviously, it begs the question, how long is it going to take for Isak and Wirtz and Ekitike and Frimpong and Karkes to settle in and give you this kind of performances that you want? Maybe it might take a little bit longer. And could Arsenal maybe seize that opportunity while Liverpool are still, trying to figure out how do we play all this talent in the same team and get the best out of them? Then when we think about Manchester City, I think with Pep Guardiola right now, he's just trying to find a way of winning from his old system without using his old system. But he's got the quality. I mean, Doc is on fire this campaign so far. Phil Foden is already doing it right. The likes of Tijani Reinders, we've not seen Ryan Shaki a lot, but Erling Haaland is doing well. We know that Mamouche has got the quality on that front line. And defensively, they're good, and they've just added Donnarumma. So when you think about those two teams, it means that for you to win the league, you've got to raise the bar. You've got to be twice as good as they are. And are Arsenal as twice as good as they are? Maybe not at the moment, but we've got the ingredients to actually go and do that. Why I think Liverpool and Man City are a major talking point in the title race every single season, especially this campaign. I'm looking at the points tally in the last 4 years. If you cannot make it to the 90 points, it is very difficult for you to win the league. And I'm thinking about Man City and Liverpool, and I'm like, I think Liverpool can get to 88 points this season. I think this Manchester City side, with maybe not so good they are, they could make it to 83, 84 points as well. So if you're Arsenal and you want to win the title comfortably in a year where you've spent 300 more million to your project and you've added very good quality, you've got to go 90 points. You've got to go 91, 92 points for me. Anyone who goes to 92 points and above is going to win the league. And if Arsenal are going to do that, I think those are going to be the points. I don't think it's going to be less than that. I think there's a lot of quality. I think there are a couple of underdogs like Chelsea and Tottenham that are going to be pushing. Won't be surprised at any point in time if Tottenham go up to, let's say, 75 points. Won't be surprised if Enzo Maresca's Chelsea hit that 77, 78 point tally. And if they do, that means that whoever is above them has got to go into the 80s, and if you're gonna win the league, then you've got to go up to the 90s as well. And then there is that excuse of injuries that we had last campaign. And I think that is why Mikel Arteta, when he talked about winning the Premier League and getting a good squad towards the end of last campaign, he said they're part of the game, right? And we have a short squad. That's what he was meaning, that you cannot have 2-3 players out and your squad is depleted and your squad is exhausted. Then you're not trying to win the league. You're trying to, I don't know, you're gambling around, right? And this summer, what we've seen is Arsenal have not really touched any important players. We've just added so many important players. Hincapié and Mosquera are generational talents in defense. Like Piero Hincapié and Christian Mosquera would start at Manchester United, Tottenham, Chelsea, in my opinion. And that is where we are. So I think in terms of injuries, Mikel Arteta understood the assignment. Let me go and add a couple of players to this squad, and as Saka maybe comes back from injury, I can rotate him with Madueke. As Madueke gets injured, maybe Saka is coming back. We have seen that with the likes of Ben White and Julian Timber. It has worked very well. We have seen that with Lewis Kelly and Ricardo Calafiori. The moment you have two quality options in one position, you are safe, right? We've seen that at right back and left back, and that's what Mikel Arteta has done, is just spread that philosophy across the board. And I think Arsenal are going to be deadly when it comes to substitutions. We're going to be deadly when it comes to that unpredictability of who does he bring? Does he bring Madueke? Does he bring Saka? Does he bring Eze? Does he bring Martinelli? And of course, we're going to have that flexibility. In a game like Atletico Bilbao, where you're playing a Spanish side, typical Spanish side, they really suffocate the middle of the pitch. What you've got to do is make the game as wide as possible, stretch the game as wide as possible. And of course, there are games where, you can create channels, you can create, you can break through the lines, centrally. Players like Eze, players like Zubimendi, we have seen it against Forest. They are absolutely very, very deadly. So in terms of injuries, it really affected us last campaign because the absence of Saka meant that Arsenal didn't have that one player that we can trust to, pass a huge volume of passes into and expect him to create a difference and expect him to, do something special for us. But now we've got a couple of players that can actually do special things. Eze can, Madueke can, Trossard can, I think Odegaard can as well on his day. And that now changes the level and quality of this team with and without injuries. So what Mikel has got to do for me, trust your players. And he's already doing that. Against Nottingham Forest, he played 5 new players in that game. Like, he started with 5 new signings in that game. Don't believe me? Madueke started on the right-hand side. I think he had a very, very good game. And of course, the man of the match in that game was Martin Zubimendi, who is also a new signing. You have got to think about Christian Mosquera, who had a very, very good game. And then Eze and Gyökeres. 5 new players started against Nottingham Forest, and Arsenal won the game. Now, alternatively, Arsenal could have played Saka if he was fit for Madueke, Saliba if he was fit for Christian Mosquera. Obviously, Zubimendi doesn't have a replacement, so he's going to play all games. But instead of playing Eze, we could have played Trossard or Gabriel Martinelli. And that means that we didn't play these 5 for a lack of options. We played these 5 because the manager trusts them as well. So rotate as much as possible so that by the time we get to May, April, the squad is still fresh and we can still go and do magic and wonders, because games are going to come in thick and fast. And then let's talk about the goals, right? Let's talk about the goals. I don't know whether Arsenal have increased. I don't know whether, I've looked at us and scoring goals ain't a problem, really. But I'm not yet moved by the amount of chances the quality of chances we are creating, especially now that we have Nanweri, Odegaard, and Downman and Eze, 4 creative talents, and also Victor Gyökeres. I'm not yet impressed. But again, what Arsenal need to do this season is not to score 30 more goals than last campaign. We need about 15 more goals than last campaign. If you remember last campaign, our biggest problem was draws. We drew so many games. And I was saying, and I think I've talked about the defensive record that we had here. If Arsenal can just go from last campaign and replicate whatever we did, but score more goals, we are champions. If we can turn some of those draws into wins, we are champions, okay? So for me, we've got to score more goals. Gyökeres definitely helps with that. Madueke definitely helps with that. And having Martinelli and having Trossard and having Eze, that's what it does. And I think we will score more goals. The beauty of this squad and the beauty of having such a very, very well-stocked squad is it doesn't really matter when you score, right? It's a bit like Liverpool. They really don't mind when they score. They will score. So against Atletico Bilbao, Arsenal are in this kind of a period where they're pushing you between a hard place and a rock. And eventually, you just change the gears. You just, shift through the gears. You bring in Martinelli, you bring on Trossard, and those are 3 players now, Trossard, Martinelli, and Madueke, willing to make the pitch as big as possible, and that was problems for Bilbao. Then, you think about the Nottingham Forest game. Goals came at the right time. There was no panic, and we knew we were gonna win the game as soon as halftime, clocked. So, if we can do that, and then keep up our defensive record, because the defensive record last campaign kept us in games. I don't know, the goalkeepers, the defenders. That is how Arsenal survived. That is how we got to the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League. It wasn't because we were so good offensively. It was because we were so good defensively. You look at the Madrid game and you're like, okay, we did beat Madrid home and away, didn't we? Yes, we did. Was it because we were so good attacking-wise? No. It was because we had the ability to stop Mbappe and the ability to stop Vinicius and ability to, silence the likes of Jude Bellingham in their tracks. That is defensive discipline. So keep it up. We are one of the best defensive sides in the world right now. The manager at Atletico Bilbao was saying that if Arsenal was playing in Spain, they would be winning 10 titles in a row. And that is because we are a side that are very hard to penetrate. And going on the other side and scoring goal is becoming a little bit better. So for me, if we do that, and then add this one thing, which is win when you don't play well. That is a problem for Mikel Arteta. We've got to agree. That is a problem for Mikel Arteta. And it's a problem for managers that typically do not win. And it's not a problem for managers that typically win. I'll give an example of Jose Mourinho. How many times and how many games does that guy win when they didn't play well? Like the whole season. Mourinho will have 20 games where his team didn't have possession, where his team created 3 chances, where his team had a red card, where his team, where he fought with the referee and got a red card and was sent off the bench, and he will win those games. So if you're gonna win the league, and Mikel Arteta needs to understand this, that it's a marathon. It's a marathon, and with marathons, if you're running, let's say if you decided to run 25 laps, right? You begin with this burst of energy that we're looking at right now. Arsenal, 9 points in 12. That is impressive. That's very good. The only team that you've lost points to is Liverpool at the Anfield. Understandable. Move on. It is okay. Absolutely fine, right? But in that game, Liverpool didn't play well. Okay? Liverpool really didn't play well. Of course, they did have possession. They did create some chances, but that was not the best Liverpool performance. Burnley was not Liverpool's best performance. In fact, Liverpool have not had a good performance in the Premier League this campaign, and they have maximum points. That's what I'm talking about. So, Mikel needs to understand that Premier League wins and titles are a marathon. You begin well because you're fresh, you're tired, your body is hydrated, and maybe, the conditions are good. And then when you get to lap 10, you start breathing heavily, right? And you get to lap 15, and your body becomes a little bit heavy. You get to lap 20, and your body is starting to really now feel the weight of the race, right? And it's now from lap 20 to 25, it is your brain. It's your brain carrying you. It's your brain focusing. It's the dopamine that is driving you, right? So I think Arsenal need a bit of that ingredient. That can we win games ugly? Let's say we get a red card and we are leading Brighton. It happened last season. We got a red card, we were leading Brighton, and the moment Arsenal got that red card, boom, João Pedro, an equalizer, and we lost the lead. And we didn't beat Brighton last campaign, by the way, home and away. We didn't beat them. And I think, was it Bournemouth as well? So we've got to work on that. We've really, really got to work on that. We've got to start finding ways of winning games in ugly circumstances. But if you ask me, we've got everything we need. We've got everything it takes for a team like Arsenal to win the Premier League. We've got everything we need to win the Premier League. Honestly, right? That is in comparison to Liverpool and in comparison to Man City. This Liverpool side, they're going to catch fire. I feel it. I see it. I know it. They are going to catch fire. But the question you've got to ask with Liverpool, and this is genuinely, when? When do they start winning games with a bigger margin of goals? When do they start winning games like consistently, right? When do they go on that 10-game run? Because I think this run is gonna end anytime soon. It just lacks conviction. So what you want to do is you want to win games, let's say 10 in a row, before Liverpool catch fire. Because if they do, that midfield, Gravenberch, McAllister, Dominic Soboslai, and Vach, that is a recipe for disaster. That's a midfield that takes you 10 games unbeaten. And that attack, obviously, they will score a lot of goals. The defense isn't a question. Konate and Van Dijk and Karkes and Frimpong and Conor Bradley, they've got enough depth in enough areas. You've got to win games early, and you've got to make sure that you don't fall behind Liverpool. You don't fall behind Man City. We fell behind Liverpool last season and we're like, oh, we will catch up. There is no catching up. The moment Liverpool are gone, they are bloody gone. The moment City are gone, they are gone. So if we don't fall behind, and if we set the pace, and if we are twice as good, I think this title is going to be very interesting for us.